To all my Facebook Live viewers. Dear friends, today I'm going to tell you something about cholesterol. Because while sitting in the clinic, when I come across most of my clients who come to me, they come to lose weight. But other than obesity, the problems they are usually suffering from is cholesterol and high levels of triglycerides. So let me tell you that to reduce body weight, if you want to reduce body weight, just thinking that you look slim, smart, that's fine. That's one of the aspects. Beauty is one of the aspects. Fitness is one of the aspects. But what is more important is good health. So whenever some client joins me and he's suffering from cholesterol and he tells me that, ma'am, I'm into the medication of cholesterol, my first reaction to that thing is that stop medicine. Medicine is important, no doubt, but there are certain things which can be controlled with good diet, and cholesterol and triglycerides are one of those lifestyle issues which can be controlled with good diet, balanced diet. So first of all, if you have high cholesterol levels, you have to reduce on 30% of the calorie intake, what you are presently taking. Just cut off 30% of the calorie intake. Then you have, usually what doctors do is that they put you on a fat-free diet. Okay, fat-free diet is fine, but totally fat-free diet is as such not required. What you have to do is you have to just cut down on your simple carbohydrates. That is more important rather than cutting down your fats, that is ghee, butter, और इस सब को cut down तो करिए, क्योंकि usually अगर हम लेते भी हैं, how much do we take? We hardly take a spoon of saturated fat in whole day. But which is the main culprit? The main culprit is the simple carbohydrate. That is in form of pastries, in form of bakeries, in form of biscuits you are consuming. So you have to just cut down on your simple carbohydrate. Introduce more of complex carbohydrates. Now, how you can introduce more complex carbohydrate in your diet is that you can just add the fiber in your diet. Now, see, if I talk about fiber, there are fresh vegetables which are rich in fiber, the raw vegetables. So every vegetable cannot be taken raw, but there are some handful of vegetables which can be eaten raw. The most common among them are hi Bhavna, how are you doing? No, she's Shipra basically, but she's written her name Bhavna. Okay, so that is what I was telling you, that what you have to do is that you have to just introduce raw vegetables. Like broccoli should become integral part of your diet. In the breakfast, in the lunch, in the dinner, just remember that you have to take broccoli in form of salad. Don't cook it, just take it in form of salad. Take more of cabbage. Introduce cabbage in your diet. Raw cabbage in your diet. It is really good. Clary, that is really good. So these all vegetables, they are complex carbohydrates. The more complex carbohydrates you will consume, the better it would be for your cholesterol issues, and the cholesterol issue will reverse without medicine. This is my promise to you, right? Now, how can you introduce fiber in your atta? Because nowadays the atta we are getting in the market is as such, if it is not refined flour, but at the same time it is not rich in fiber. So to make atta rich in fiber, just add some wheat bran in it, add some oat bran, or even you can add some isabgol in your atta. So that atta becomes fiber rich, and it is really going to do magics with the cholesterol issues. Now you have to be very much particular that whatever you have to, the dals you have to eat, they should be chilka wali dal, like green moong dal, because kya hota hai ki usually doctors say ki rajma khana band kar do, chana khana band kar do, black chana khana band kar do, green dal khana band kar do, ab moong dhuli dal ke upar aa jao. But aisa nahi karna hai. If you have cholesterol issues, the more fiber you will consume, the better it would be for your health. So just introduce sprouts in your diet, because when we eat sprouts, the chilka on the dal, it is really rich in fiber. So when you will consume that fiber rich dal, the cholesterol levels will definitely come down with due course of time. Then coming on to the type of milk you should be taking, switch over to either soy milk or switch over to slim milk. Don't take milk which is rich in saturated fats, because it is also, it is equally bad for cholesterol. So switch over to almond milk, switch over to soy milk, switch over to slim trim milk. That would be really good for the elevated levels of cholesterol. It will really bring back the cholesterol levels to bring back them to normal. And then coming on to the type of oil you should be eating, क्योंकि usually क्या होता है जब आप डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, डॉक्टर आपको कहते हैं देसी घी नहीं खाना है, आपको ये नहीं खाना है, आपको फैट फ्री खाना है. सबसे पहले तो ये बात को आप एक गांठ बांध लीजिए कि फैट बंद करने से आपका कोलेस्ट्रॉल लेवल्स कम नहीं होंगे. ठीक है, तो घी भी लीजिए और ऑयल्स भी लीजिए. और ऑयल, the best suited oil for your cholesterol, elevated levels of cholesterol, is of course olive oil as well as mustard oil. They are the best oils. Just rule out using any sort of rice bran oil or any refined oil, whichever is available in the market. Reason being is this, that they are highly hydrogenized and they are actually not good for health. So just remember that you have to eat either olive oil or mustard oil, and a teaspoon, say 5 grams of desi ghee is permissible for all the patients who are suffering from high levels of cholesterol. So 5 grams of desi ghee will not do any harm to you, rather it will give you good health. Now coming on to the fruits, the type of fruits you should be taking. You should always take, hi Nina ji, how are you? You should always take fruits which are rich in fiber. So which are the fruits which are rich in fiber? When we talk of apple, apple is really good. It is rich in fiber. But at the same time, if we remove the peel of the apple, it becomes useless. So consume apples with peel. That is very important. Then coming on to oranges, they are also good for elevated levels of cholesterol. But just remember that 100 grams of fruit is only permissible for the patients who are suffering from cholesterol, right? Only 100 grams of fruit is permissible. So best suited fruit is, of course, as I told you, apple with peel or orange or mosambi, because they are rich in fiber. The fruit you should avoid, you should not make a daily habit, is that kiwi. Kiwi is actually not good for the elevated levels of cholesterol. You should not be taking then cashew nuts if you have high levels of cholesterol. You should go in for you can go in for almonds, you can go in for, but then usually we take almonds soaked overnight. But if you have cholesterol, no need of soaking the almonds overnight. You can take them with the fiber. You can go in for walnuts. You can go for half a walnut. So the combination of the fruit, the dry fruit, for those who are suffering from high levels of cholesterol would be like 2 almonds, half walnut and 1 fig in a day. That is enough. That will give you enough of energy, as well as it will not be bad for your cholesterol. At the same time, you should introduce some omega-3 fatty acids, which is actually source of good cholesterol in your body. That is omega-3 fatty acids, and that is in flax seeds. So you can just go in for a teaspoon of flax seeds early in the morning. There will be it will really work as a magic. Then another very important point which I wanted to tell you is that go in for, increase your physical activity. Increasing physical activity doesn't mean that you should go for brisk walking or you should go for jogging. Increasing physical activity means 40 minutes of walk, which does not give pressure to your heart. Just a normal 40 minutes walk, need not to be a brisk walk, right? So then have nuts, seeds and raisins or other dry fruit mixture available for snacks. Don't take all these the bhujiyas which are available in the market, which say that they have 0 cholesterol, but having 0 cholesterol doesn't mean that they are good for the cholesterol levels. Though they have the 0 cholesterol, but the fats present in those bhujiyas and all, they are really bad for the cholesterol levels. So the physical activity you should involve in, take daily walks, that is 40 minutes of walk. Hi Sukhbir, 40 minutes of walk daily. Then you should plan some biking, some cycling. Cycling doesn't mean on the spot cycling. I would really appreciate if you all buy bicycles and go uphill once and downhill. Uphill doesn't mean that you have to go into that area where there is a uphill. You go uphill climbing and then coming back. No, just buy a bicycle and ride it for say 2 kilometers. And especially in Jammu we have such areas where you have to climb and come down. So cycling is one of the good exercises for those suffering from cholesterol. Play games like volleyball, badminton, tennis, golf. They are really good for people who are suffering from cholesterol. Jumping rope and swimming, they are good exercises, and skating is also good exercise, right? Instead of taking elevators, which we usually take, you should take staircases. And of course, park your cars at distance so that you can walk maximum while you go in for or any sort of shopping or such thing. One thing very important is that usually people go for walk after dinners, after lunch. See, my dear friends, you have to realize this thing, that once you are done with your breakfast or lunch or dinner, your body is involved. It is, it is involved in digesting your food. So the body is already in use. सारा हमारा जो system है उसमें digestion में लगा होता है. And if we go for walk also, we opt for walking also, what happens that we put extra pressure on our gallbladder as well as our heart. So it is not advisable to leave for walk immediately after dinner or lunch or breakfast, because it can really harm you adversely. So it is better that after dinner, wait for half an hour or 40 minutes and then go for walk. Don't go for walk immediately after taking your dinner, because this is what I've been noticing in my with my clients, is that they say कि हम dinner खाते ही walk करने निकल जाते हैं. This is really bad. This is really bad for health. So you have to avoid it. Just 40 minutes of rest and then you can go in for walk. And another important point, which I would, as I told you, that whole wheat, introduce whole wheat in your diet. Whole wheat doesn't mean the other attas which are coming in the market are all whole wheat, which contains choker in them, right? So these are the few points you have to keep in mind if you're higher, elevated levels of cholesterol. And just stop refined sugars. That is very important. Sugar is the main culprit. Just stop refined sugars, because as such, the sugars are available in your diet through natural sources like fruit, wheat. Everything contains sugar in it. So you don't need artificial sugar. That is the white sugar. You don't require it as such. And it's just for taste you are eating those, taking those sugars, the white sugar, which is there in the market. So I would suggest all those who are listening to my Facebook Live that stop bringing sugar in your homes and start teaching your children to say no to white sugar. So sugars are already present in the foods, the food and the dals and all which you are taking. They have natural sugars in them, and they are as such enough for you. So basic points to avoid cholesterol, I'll repeat once again. Switch over to whole wheat, switch over to whole grams, take lots of salads, 100 grams of fruit in a day. If possible, take fruit with peel, then no cashew nuts, then no kiwis. If you're elevated, if you have elevated levels of cholesterol, as well as avoid any sort of juice, even fresh juices. Instead take apple, instead take fruits, and 100 grams of fruit is the golden rule for the people who are suffering from cholesterol. Just 100 grams of fruit. And for oils, the best suited oil for people who are suffering from cholesterol is mustard oil and olive oil, and 5 grams of desi ghee in a day. So I think if you'll keep these things in mind, you'll definitely bounce back to life. You'll have good maintain levels of cholesterol as well. One thing important which I want to tell you is that just avoid the sugars. White sugar is to be avoided. That's all for now. I shall be back with next time.